This is the story of a ship that survived the worst flood in history. The largest ship built for more than 5,000 years, the Ark of Noah. The basic story is the same in the history of every nation, every race, in all parts of the world. Mankind had become violent, evil, and corrupt. And God decided to send a flood to destroy every living thing in the world. Everything except two of every kind of the animals, one man, his wife, and family. We know that man best as Noah. God spoke to Noah and told him to build a giant ship 3 stories high, to cover the wooden timbers with pitch or tar inside and out. This is the Queen Mary in Long Beach Harbor, California. Completed in 1936, it's 1,019 feet long. Noah's Ark is approximately 1/2 as big as the Queen Mary. The Ark was to be 300 cubits long, which would make the length of the ship 450 to 500 feet. It was approximately 75 feet wide and 45 feet high, with a window in front and a huge door in the side. No ship would be built larger than the Ark until the year 1857, when the Great Eastern was launched in England. The capacity of the Ark made it possible for it to carry more cargo than 522 railway freight cars. Modern cargo ships are still constructed in the design ratio of the Ark. It's been found to be the most stable of all maritime designs. Its design also makes it extremely practical for cargo, and Noah had an enormous cargo. Other than himself and his wife, his 3 sons and their wives, the Ark was to carry an estimated 35,000 animals, male and female, of all the kinds of animals. Noah was king in the ancient city of Sherapak in what now is Iraq. So King Noah, his 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and his subjects, built the Ark. The Bible says it took Noah 120 years. High and dry from the nearest body of water big enough to float it, the Ark was finally completed. The animals went aboard 2 by 2 as God had commanded, and Noah and his passengers and cargo were all shut up in the Ark to await the flood God had promised. Noah had warned the people of Sherapak for 120 years of the coming flood. But no one listened. They ignored him, laughed at him, and watched in ridicule and scorn for more than a century as King Noah built this monstrosity of a ship. He and his small family waited, shut up in the Ark, shut out from a laughing world. For 7 days and 7 nights they waited, but there was no sign of the coming flood. Then God's promised cataclysm began. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month, were all the windows of heaven opened up. And on that same day were all the fountains of the deep broken up. Scientists have now confirmed that at this time there was a tremendous cataclysm that inundated Noah's world, if not the entire earth. One theory is that a canopy of vapor had surrounded the earth up until the time of the flood. That the earth was a giant hothouse with lush plant life and an even tropical temperature, and that all the water at that time came out of the ground from springs or condensed overnight in the form of dew. It's thought that the canopy of vapor was broken apart during the cataclysm and that rain came from the skies for the first time. If this is true, then Noah and the people of Sherapak saw the first rain fall on earth. Genesis in the Bible says that it rained 40 days and 40 nights, that the floodwaters continued to rise for 110 days after the rain stopped. Flood deposits have been found by archaeologists in Iraq that range from 5 to 12 feet thick. Entire civilizations buried under mud and debris. In 1931, the University of Pennsylvania uncovered flood deposits in Sherapac, where Noah was king. Conclusive proof that the entire city was destroyed by a giant flood some 5,000 years ago. What must the people of Sherapac have thought when rain began to fall out of the sky for the first time? Did any of them remember Noah's warning when the thunder and lightning surrounded them and the rising waters forced them from their homes? 150 years after the flood, Noah told of watching from the window of the ark as God wept. How the earth shuddered and was torn apart as God's tears collected and flooded the earth. King Noah told of watching from the ark as the dead men of Sherapac floated by like dead logs as the ark shuddered and trembled under the eruptions of the earth, just before the light turned to darkness. Substance was destroyed from off the face of the earth, both man and cattle, and the creeping things, and the fowls of the heavens. They were all destroyed. For a year and 17 days, Noah and the survivors were aboard the ark. As the floodwaters receded and the tops of the mountains began to appear. Then as the floodwaters drained away, the ark was aground. The ark rested in the 7th month, on the 17th day of the month, upon the mountains of Ararat. According to most of the flood legends, the survivors sent out a bird to see if the land were dry enough to disembark. When the bird didn't return, Noah and his family let the animals out and built an altar to praise the God who had spared their lives. And according to the Bible, God put a rainbow in the sky as a sign to Noah that he would never again destroy everything from off the earth by flood.